welcome once again to Senior Focus. I'm your host, Bill Adams. Senior Focus is a show designed for adults over the age of about 50 or so. But again, if you're younger than that, that's fine. This information, especially on today's show, could be useful with family members, friends, neighbors, people that you know in your life. We come to you through Channel 20 on Armstrong Cable, and thanks to Greg Roden for allowing us to be on the air. And also thanks to Greg, eventually he puts each show up on YouTube. So you could just enter the search terms Armstrong Cable and Senior Focus, and you could find the show there. We also like to thank Keith Kaiser from Mill Creek Metro Parks. Keith lets us use the Davis Visitor Center to film the shows, and it's a beautiful building, but right now we're in what's called the Radius Room. And the whole building is really worth the visit, so come out to Mill Creek Metro Parks. Today we're going to be talking with some folks from the Ursuline Center over in Shields Road in Canfield, and specifically about their exercise programs for seniors, including the Silver Sneakers program and their water classes, their pool classes, exercise. So I'm going to introduce folks as you look at them from your right to left. We're going to start with Sister Pauline Delpy and Sister Mary Ellen Dean, and then we have Pat Moylan and Phil Davis on the far left. And welcome to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out. Well, sisters, we'll talk with both of you to start with about the center, and why don't we start off at the very top with where are you located and how can people contact you?
We're located at the Ursuline Mother House and Center at 4250 Shields Road in Canfield, Ohio. Our telephone number is 330-792-7636. We have a receptionist that can answer any questions that you might have. The exercise, we have a land program and a pool program that are designed particularly for older adults who want to improve their strength, their flexibility, their balance, their endurance. The land class meets on Mondays and Wednesdays. We have two classes, one at 8:30, one at 10. Each class lasts an hour. The pool program, and by the way, you don't have to swim to enjoy the pool program, meets on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The original class we have a class at 10:45, and it proved so popular that we recently added a noon class as well.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned about the swimming part. I'm not that great a swimmer myself, and I've been talking to my wife about going because I know she's interested in, our neighbor actually has gone to some of the swimming classes, so thank you for mentioning that. And Sister Pauline, do you want to talk about maybe your background and some of the work that you do with the folks that come in? We were talking before the show about what it's like when people come in for the classes.
What it's like is wonderful. It's like joining your extended family. We begin to know each other and miss each other when someone's not there. As we were talking, we were mentioning that people come earlier to class and they'll stay later after class. They'll bring notices of things that are going on around town. Both of you, Phil and Pat, both have brought information of the doings that are in our city, and we'll post them on our door. The door has now become the bulletin board, so anything that anyone has gone to or hears about, they give a personal report about it, and so it keeps you in touch with what's going on in the city from a personal vantage point, that you know it's worth going to in the city. We've got a lot of good secrets in town, and so it's a nice way of sharing that kind of information. At the center, we offer a lot of book clubs for different purposes. One book club is a religious book club. Another one is just about mysteries or the newest books that are out that people are enjoying. And Sister Mary Ellen is quite an avid reader, and so they come in and many of the people will just talk about the books that they've read, and you may have read them too, and so there's a informal book club going on there too, and an exchange.
So you have people that are doing both, maybe they're reading the books and then they're also staying for the exercise.
Yes, yes.
But it's
Yeah.
sort of up to a person's choice.
Absolutely.
They could do whatever they choose to do on that day.
Yes.
Some people have come and didn't exercise, even though Phil encouraged them, but they may have come just to sit and chat, because that's what they needed that day, and to see everybody. So it's almost like not a support group, it's not a community center, but it's got all those kind of flavors and feelings to it.
Sure. And we're going to have some video of the classes in action and also the swimming exercise classes. Why don't we talk at this point a little bit with Pat, and if that's okay.
Sure.
I know you've been a member for a while. I don't know if member is the right word, but you've been coming to the classes.
Yes.
And do you want to talk about how you got started in the exercise?
I knew Phil many years ago when we both worked for General Motors.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran into him because he had come back to town, and I said, gee, what are you doing with your life? And he says, well, I'm running an exercise program. I says, exercise? So I decided to go to the classes, and it was so much fun that I've continued to go for like 4 years now.
Wow.
And it's made a big difference. Before I used to have a tendency to fall.
Okay.
I break easy, and the classes have helped me with my balance really well. And in my opinion, it's helped me a lot from falling and doing that type of thing.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because earlier this year we had a whole program designated about falls and prevention of falls.
It's so, you can do your physical therapy when you do have an accident. You can do it so much better because you're more flexible.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Phil, do you want to talk about how you got started in this and just sort of the genesis, a little bit of that
How I got started in it was I went back to school at YSU. I started in 1967.
Okay.
And then kids came along, family came along, General Motors came along, and I just sort of got away from it. And every now and then I would go back to it. So I've been to the university, I started YSU, University of Pittsburgh. I think I even took a class at the University of South Carolina once. Westmoreland Community College for 1 year with Volkswagen. And anyway, I was always in business management, primarily automotive industry with General Motors, Volkswagen, and Lear Corporation. Exercise was not my strong thing. I was an athlete in school, but I quit doing that even in the 10th grade because I wanted to get a car, so I bought my own car. But anyway, I changed majors one day. I was driving to Lear Corporation. I'm thinking, what am I going to do with this degree? That I'm getting really close. I was in my junior year down there, and I decided, what do I really like to do? I'd become a runner, and and that it led to some evolutionary changes. Long story short, I decided, well, you know what, I'm going to do something else. I'm tired of being a business manager. I'm going to go into something else. So I went and changed my major to exercise science. And one of the instructors, Liz Vlad, as a matter of fact, who still teaches there, she invited me to she was also teaching at the YMCA downtown to senior citizens. And she says, you might like it. I'm in my 60s, all right? I think we're in my 60s, and I was older than most of the instructors I had down there. Anyway, so I went with her, and I says, I really enjoyed that class and what I did, and I got to help her set up and this and that. And I liked the people that were there. I just felt really comfortable there. And I was one of these people. I'm the same age as the people who were in the class.
Sure.
So that just led me to that. And then YSU, one of my professors there at the center there on the senior center on Fifth Avenue.
Right.
they would furnish an instructor for, I think it was a Wednesday afternoon class, not 2 days a week. You went up there, one of the students would go there for an hour, teach the class. Now, so they asked me, why don't you try that? So I said, hey, I'll go do that. So I did that. And that's the first class I started to teach. And it was pretty pathetic in the beginning, but the people set me straight and how to do this and what would work and what wouldn't do. So, you learn by practice. And I really liked doing it. And I just expanded it from there. And then.
How long have you been at the Ursuline Center?
Actually, we came to the Ursuline Center. We were at Metro Parks Farm. The class I had started at Metro. I was already teaching Silver Sneakers in some of the clubs, East Palestine, Club South. It used to be on the south side there on 224. I ran into a guy who worked with Healthways. And he was a regional manager for this part of the country. And he had talked to me about it. He says, we want to start, I need somebody to teach in Canfield, and there's no area in Canfield, there's no clubs, because they were normally YMCAs or a private club. And there wasn't any there, and we were thinking about putting one in at the Metro Parks Farm, because he had already talked to Metro Parks and some other places, and that looked like the best site. So he asked me if I would be willing to do that class. And it was a Tuesday, Thursday class. I think we started at, 8:30, 9 o'clock. I don't even remember now, because we had 11 people. Anyway, we signed people up. They started advertising and things like that, and sending notices to people with this insurance who covered it. It's an insurance-based kind of thing, But we also had, like Sister Pauline was saying, we would let people come in there, and we asked Metro Parks Farm, what would you want? Do you want us to charge them or, you fee? We did not want to get involved handling the money. If Metro Parks wanted to charge these folks something, they could. And they decided, they came back and told us that, no, we want as many people in here exercising as you can get.
Sure.
So, just for the benefit for the people and for their own health. So that's how we started there. We were there for close to 3 or 4 years. And then there was, Healthways finally realized that Metro Parks Farm did not have only people were insured were the people who were insured by the insurance companies. The other people were not insured. So it became a liability issue, and they didn't want anybody else in there. They didn't want the liability issue. So we started, that was like almost 50% of our class was non-insurance insured people. So we started looking for another place.
Well, I was going to ask about that, and we talked a little before the show about how this works. So again, if somebody's out there and they're interested in joining Silver Sneakers, could you describe what would be the process? You take both, people with insurance and those without.
Yes.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sister Mary Ellen does that part.
Okay.
If anyone is interested in joining the class, they call the Ursuline Mother House at the number I gave you earlier, and they're referred to Sister Treesan Rich.
Okay.
And she will contact them and take down the basic information. And then Healthways is a very simple way that we can check whether the person has insurance or not.
Okay.
And then she calls them back and tells them either that their insurance will cover the classes or the private pay system. When they come to class for the first time, we give them a free opportunity to join the class to see how they sample class.
Okay.
Thank you. And then we have a risk form that we ask them to fill out that releases us from any liability in case of a problem. And we're starting our 4th year, and we have had so far, we've had no difficulties whatsoever. But the Ursuline Sisters, the number of our Ursuline Sisters is diminishing, and therefore we have empty space in our mother house and in our center. And we're always looking for ways that we can open the place to the public. and make better use of the facilities that we have. And so when we had the opportunity to take over this program, we were very happy to do so. We did so with very little modification to our building. And that was the beginning of another way that which we could serve the people of the Canfield area. Or we have people from Salem, from Poland, from New Middletown, all over the city.
Yeah, I imagine that would attract people from all over the area, the county.
Yes.
And why don't we give the number again, and maybe we'll give that at the end again, too.
The telephone number is 330-792-7636.
Okay.
And you'll be greeted with a marvelous receptionist, Renee, that can answer any questions you would have.
One of the things that we've discovered too is that there are several nursing homes in the area, and there's also several rehab centers in the area too that have adult speakers for programs. They have a speakers bureau, and so we've had the opportunity every couple months or every few months of having a speaker come from a nursing home or come from one of the rehab centers to give us information. So February 3rd, we have a speaker coming in to talk about nutritional needs. Sister Mary Ellen, do you have the time on that? February 3rd.
February 3rd, we're having 2 half-hour sessions. They will follow the regular exercise class.
Okay.
One will be at 9:30 and the other at 11 o'clock.
And people don't have to be a member of Silver Sneakers. This is open to the public, so that anyone who wants to come in and hear a talk for 30 minutes and stay and talk to the speaker after is certainly free to do that.
Well, it might be a good idea, too, if they came earlier to see the class.
Yes.
I'm sure you have some people, like we talked about the sample class, or they may
Yeah.
just come to observe. Pat, I was going to ask, since you've been doing this for 3 or 4 years?
4 years.
Have you made some real friendships through this? People
Oh,
that you
yes.
see every
Yes.
class?
Well, what's comical is if you have some issue and you miss a day, then as soon as you come in, everybody wants to know if everything's all right. So, yeah, you make friends. And then, too, when you talk to people, they're involved with other activities. There's a couple ladies in our class, the 10 o'clock class, that are very active in Youngstown Playhouse. Well, I
Okay.
hadn't been to Youngstown Playhouse since I was a kid. And we discussed some plays, and I said, well, that would really be nice. I'd sort of like to do that. So it opens you to do other things other than just exercise.
Sure.
Because everybody has different interests.
Well, Phil, I wanted to ask, is this designed then for, I always put myself in the shoes of somebody watching. And say I'm a senior, I'm 70 or 75 or whatever the age is, on the couch, and I haven't exercised in who knows how many years.
You fit right in.
Okay, well, that's good. And-
Seriously, no,
that's-
it's designed for, we've had people in there that come in wheelchairs, we have people in there with oxygen. You can adapt anything to their, whatever their needs are, we can modify the program, so to speak, It's very flexible. I don't teach from okay, here's what we're going to do today. I just come in there, see who I have, and I tailor it to them. The 8:30 class is more of a cardio class. It's more standing. It's for people who are a little more fit.
Okay.
I encourage those folks to come to the 8:30 class if they can. If they can't, they can come to either class.
Sure.
But the 10 o'clock class is more, people sit down more. It's for the people who are not quite as fit or have disabilities and things like that. And so but they can, either class, it's not that big a difference.
But the point to be made, I guess, is, as you were saying before we started the show, we were talking a little bit, how there's a real savings to, like, the insurance companies, which is why.
That's why the insurance companies back it. That's why they have it, because they've done studies, there's all these studies going on, been going on for years and years. And it shows that they can save, and I'm just using this as because off the top of my head, it's probably changed since the last time I even looked at the real data, but between $2,500 to $3,000 per month per person, that they can save on a person who really goes in and works in an exercise class and gets themselves in a little better condition, a little better shape. Exercise improves. Everybody needs it. There's none of us that can get by without it. It, like Pat was saying, it helps your balance. We work on the core. I try to get all the major muscles groups every time, and sometimes I'll even repeat a thing just to give it, to make them a little stronger.
Excuse me.
Sure.
I'm just thinking, Phil, the favorite part is right near the end. Phil has us put a ball behind the back, and we just go this
Rocky
way.
rock.
It is the easiest way to get a back massage.
Oh, okay.
So this is free.
Free back massage.
And-
That massage is worth the price of admission.
It is, and Phil tells stories and gives information while you're doing the exercise. So we're getting information as well as the stretching of all of the muscles. It's delightful, really. The time goes very quickly. I remember at the very beginning, we would get some phone calls and they were saying, do men come to this? Is it only women? I didn't realize that was a big need or of interest. And so we do have a number of men that do come.
Sure.
With their friends, with their neighbors, with their spouse. It just serves everyone,
It does.
everyone's needs.
And as we were talking about, all the programs, and we talked about the book club and things like that, I would think this exercise helps improve your mental functioning.
Yeah.
Not only clarity of mind, but also, let's face it, in the winter, if you don't get out much, there's depression, especially among seniors. So I'm just, Pat, have you noticed just physical changes or emotional from doing
Well,
exercise?
You can see just by the way people walk in and walk out that they
That's
feel
true.
better. I mean, and we even have a couple, he's like 93 years old, and he goes bowling, and
Oh, my.
both of them, they're a beautiful couple. And yes, and there are men, and it's really nice if you can come with your husband, but it's not necessary. You can come by yourself. There is men and women. And you can stand up or you can sit down, but.
And Sister Mary Ellen, before you were talking about the February 3rd program, which is
Yes.
about nutrition.
Yes.
Again, that fits into the whole healthy living sort of lifestyle. And why don't, at this point, we give the phone number again and the contact information for the Ursuline Center.
All right, the telephone number is the Ursuline Mother House. The phone number is 330-792-7636. The land classes meet on Monday and Wednesdays. There are two classes, one at 8:30 to 9:30, a second class from 10 to 11. The complimentary pool program meets Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10:45, and a second class meets at noon. And again, I want to reiterate that the pool has graduated depths. It's an exercise class, really not a swimming class.
And the pool is heated.
And the pool,
Oh, yes.
yes,
Pool, right.
It's heated better than what the Y pool.
That in itself is worth the price of coverage.
Yes,
It is.
yes.
That's why I was
That's-
hoping you were going to put that in there.
Yes.
Because that's a big thing, especially you're coming in this type of weather.
Right.
Oh, I hate to go in here, it's cold. It is nice and cozy and warm in that place.
our pool is open approximately 12 hours a day, almost 7 days a week, to various groups for different exercise programs. The Arthritis Foundation, the Cleveland Clinic also uses the pool, so it's heated to those standards.
Okay. We only have a few minutes to go. Would you both want to talk about some of the other programs or about the center in general? I know last year, have you opened up the housing yet?
Oh, we have the apartments
Okay.
opened up and still people moving in. We have 12 apartments.
Okay.
And right now, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them will be occupied by the
They're-
end of the month.
They're completely independent living
Okay.
facility, kitchen, bedroom, living room, bathroom, tons of closet space in there. And so those
Storage.
storage areas. Again, as I said, we're trying to make better use of the space that we have at the Mother House and open it up for as many ministries as we possibly can. We also have a prayer shawl ministry, which isn't exercise, but it also brings people together for that.
I think what we've heard from the apartment people is there's so much going on. They can walk over to the pool or walk over to the exercise.
They come down to the exercise class.
Walsh University offers courses if they want to pick up a class or two in business or in education classes. If they want to volunteer to any of the different opportunities that we have there, they can. We have spiritual direction that's offered. I also offer counseling services there. Our chapel is open to any time someone wants to come and pray or join us for prayer or for church. They don't have to be Catholic. Anyone who wants to gather together to pray or pray privately. The holidays have been wonderful because we invited the apartment people for the holidays, for our big meals, and they got to know each other and got to know us. There's just something going on all the time. And Renee, as the receptionist, just chats with everybody and gets to know everyone. It's a very secure setting.
Would people be able to tour the apartments? Are you still looking?
Anytime.
Okay.
Anytime. Give that phone call again.
One more time on the
That phone number.
330-792-7636.
Okay. And we've been talking again with folks from the Ursuline Mother House. And as you look from your right to left, Sister Pauline Delpy, thank you, and Sister Mary Ellen Dean. And we want to thank Pat Moylan and also Phil Davis. And they're part of the Silver Sneakers program. And we've been talking about all the exercise options that are available there. Again, the whole point of this was to get folks off the couch, to get moving, and you know, there are a lot of benefits to anybody of any age, as we've heard. You've been watching Senior Focus. I'm your host, Bill Adams. We come to you a couple times each month on Armstrong's Channel 20 and 100. And thank you to Greg Roten, who is the producer. And again, if you were interested in seeing parts of the show you may have missed, you can go on YouTube and just type in Armstrong Cable and Senior Focus and see the whole show. Also, thanks to Keith Kaiser from Mill Creek Metro Parks, who allows us to use the Davis Visitor Center. Until next time, we want to thank you for watching.
Armstrong Local Programming features our community like no one else. Meet your friends and neighbors at special events. Find the perfect pet. Celebrate our region's rich history or enjoy our natural wonders. Armstrong Local Programming is available online, on demand, and on your local Armstrong channel. Find the complete program schedule at ArmstrongOneWire.com. Local programming, exclusively from Armstrong. One Wire, infinite possibilities.